Welcome to Vegas. It is time for Formula 2 under the lights at the world-famous Strip. "17 corners, 3 straights and 2 DRS zones, the Strip has been taken over to become a main straight commanding top speeds of over 180 miles per hour. So before the off, let's remind ourselves of yesterday's results with a look at the starting grid.
Andrea Kimi Antonelli lines up on pole position.
And it's Dennis Hauger in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Aaron, Behrman, Joshua Dirksen, Bortoletto, Martins, Correa, Cordial, Kushmini, Stanek, Crawford,
Zach O'Sullivan,
Enzo Fittipaldi,
Colapinto,
Maloney,
Barnard,
Isaac Hadjar, Pepe Marti, Vachor,
Villa Gomez,
Ritomo Miyata. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. Hello one, hello all, and welcome to the commentary box. I'm Alex Jakes, he is Alex Brundle, and we have changeable conditions today, Alex. How does that uncertainty affect the strategy?
Well, uncertainty is what strategy is all about, but it absolves the teams from the responsibility of running both compounds of tyre. They might have to use that wet tyre, of course, and then the question is, where do those crossovers lie between the wet and dry conditions?
This is not going to be an easy race from this position, but just give it your best shot.
So yes, we are starting in the very back of the race as we had crashed out of qualifying, and it was a one-shot qualifying. Here's our strategy. Super softs and then softs. It looks like it gets cloudy at the end, but for most of the race it should be sunny.
Welcome to Driving Immersion for the immersive racing experience. If this is your first time here, we drive full-length races without assists, from the driver's cockpit with a force feedback wheel and pedal set. Give us a like and subscribe. Our content is on Facebook in HD and on YouTube in Ultra HD. It's time for the Las Vegas Grand Prix, one of 3 races in the calendar in America. This time we're going to drive in the F2 League. We're driving as Ritomo Miyata, and we are starting in the back of the grid.
Right, let's get the car up to temperature on this lap, please. We're loading the gears, so let's go through them all if you can.
Stick around, we've got more gripes with the graphics in F1 24. We're going to talk about how it is to drive in F2, and we're going to talk about Las Vegas. So here we're rounding turn 4, which will bring us to our first DRS section. And then we're going to make a very sharp right into turn 5.
No rain for the time being, conditions look good.
And here's our first view of the sphere. Rounding turn 5, we're going to make a sweeping left, which is turn number 6. And that is going to bring us to a very, very slow turn 7. And turn 8, chicane to the right. Turn 9. And the sphere is just there to your left. And we're going to sweep to the right, and this is turn 10, to a very blind turn 11, which is just going to sweep again to the left. Brake hard into turn 12. The curbs do come out, so you'll have to make this a very sharp left. And this is the beginning of the very long straight down Las Vegas Boulevard, the Strip. And you can see on your left and right the casinos. Turn 13 here, a very slight left-hander, and that is going to bring us into our DRS zone. Very hard braking into turn 14 here to the left, and a little bit of a chicane. It's going to bring us to the right, which is turn 15, back to the left, turn 16. Short straight, and we're going to go to the left, and that's going to take us to the last turn of the lap, turn 17, and across the start-finish line past the pit straight. So again, we are starting in the very back of the grid. We did crash out in one-shot qualifying, but we do have a fast car based on practice. So here we go, lights out. And immediately we're going to sweep to the left. There we are in the black car. At the very last position, number 6. And right away we're going to get by with a car just to our left. Through our first DRS zone, not active yet. And again, the sphere to the left. This is Westchester Drive. Seven, 8, and 9. And this is going to take us onto Sands Avenue. And later on during the race, you can see the Venetian right there to your left. The Wynn Hotel to the right. So if you've ever been to Las Vegas, you'll know all of these points that you're seeing on the outside of the track. So for F124, very good model for the Las Vegas track. This track was also available in F123.
Pedal to the metal. I do have maybe 1 or 2 notches more wing than required, so hopefully that will pay off later.
So as we're coming around the pit straight, we are ending lap 1,
Definitely
starting
not
lap
paying
2.
off now. Good job.
So our setup has allowed us to get a very good
Look
jump
for a
out of
bit
turn 4.
understeer when trailing the car ahead. They're going to be giving off dirty air, which is going to affect our tyres, so try to get past.
I did hit the wall.
Down through 7 and 8. Very tricky to turn left into turn 7. The track does fall away to the right a little bit, so you have to start your braking just a little bit early.
No damage.
Turn 12. So we're slowly making our way up to the front. We are ahead of 3 cars now. And here down the main straight, it's a very long straight, so if you've got a lot of wing on the car, you'll certainly pay for it by the time you get to the end of the straight. And there will be a couple of times here throughout the race that our car will actually suffer. And you can see there that we did get passed by the end of the straight, since we don't have DRS yet.
Good job. That was the fastest lap of the race so far.
So again, we have a very fast car for the race, so hopefully this will make up for it, starting from the last place. And here's turn 4. Again, we are able to really just accelerate out, even from the inside lane. Got DRS now coming into turn 5.
Good job.
So the F2, audibly from in the cockpit, the exhaust note is a little bit drony. so you do have to kind of limit the volume. But from the track side, as you can see here, that's not a very loud car at all. It does look fantastic with that rear wing sticking way up. And I'm sure it creates a lot of drag, but it also creates a lot of downforce. And along the main straight here, when you have the DRS open, I'm sure all of that drag goes away. So there we are, we've got the DRS activated.
It's got to be a little bit more visible.
Yes, when you're driving around here, the DRS markers, even the braking zone markers, they're hard to distinguish hanging up on the fence. Just kind of have to get used to looking for them. You can see the black light boxes.
Okay, we're approaching the pit window. You're going to be on softs.
But again, the
Very defensive here.
distance markers for the
Car
turns
behind starting to drop back. There's a gap beginning to form. Let's make the most of it.
are very hard to see. And here, when we're rounding turn 6, you'll actually be looking for the brake markers coming into turn 7, as it is kind of falling away. There are some skid marks on the track from the other cars that you can use as a, I guess, a reference point for when to brake for turn 7. But there are distance markers on the left, high up on the fence if you look for them. I believe at the 100-yard mark is, or 100-meter mark is when you start braking for turn 7. There's the marker for the 50 yards, or 50 meters. And that's what they look like. But again, it's very hard to see it when you're driving in the car, speeding along. Same thing here with the DRS. You kind of have to use the buildings as place markers for where the zone is.
That worked out.
Here we are in 13th place already.
Don't understand why they were so slow out of that exit.
There we are. I don't know if you get a quick glimpse of the brake markers on the upper left of the fence. And on the HUD is our tire situation. You can see that the Super Softs, which are these purple striped tires, are worn down to 18%. Worn by 18% in the rear. So we are accelerating very hard out of the turns, and that's why they're getting worn. But it's simply because the straights are very long here at Las Vegas. And being a very short sprint race of only 14 laps, we are due for our first pit stop to change out of these tires on lap 6, based on our strategy.
Lap. Push now.
So starting lap 6, we'll be coming in after this, or next time around. Very very wide there and through.
Okay, good work. Great pass.
So racing in F2 is a little bit different than racing in F1. The cars are not as fast, obviously, but the talent is a little bit closer as far as ability. And when you're racing here in F2, you're going to find that a lot of the cars are going to be close together or in a line as we are here in the train. So systematically, if you want to move to the front, you're going to be passing cars continuously. Unless, of course, there's a...
lap. Keep an eye on your distance to the speed limit line as you approach and make sure you don't speed.
Unless, of course, there's a yellow or something happens on the track to separate the cars. So there we've got our DRS open. You can see the car behind us. As soon as he opened his, he was able to get around. So we don't have an advantage as far as speed on this track in this car. We actually have our wings set to 8 and 7. 8 in the front, 7 in the back. And it's giving us the ability to punch out of turn 4. But along the main straight, you can see our deficit to the other cars, so they must have their settings a lot lower. Here we are, not familiar with where the start of speed limit is, so we come to nearly a stop, and you're looking at one of the graphical errors here in F124. It does this in the F1 League as well. The front tires have tire smoke when you are obviously braking, but when you're also accelerating, and that's quite a lot of smoke that you see there. And
Fast up, pit stop.
I don't know, that's just like a 6th grade glitch. I think people at EA should have fixed this from the very start. I don't know if it's been happening when the game launched, but
failed.
We are 6 months after the launch, and graphically that's just not very good. Having driven F1 cars since, I believe, 1998 on the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2. I think when Codemasters had the game, they had made incremental. Sometimes they'd step back one step or move forward 2 steps, but they made very incremental changes. But here now with EA, again, I like the driving physics of F124, but graphically, they went several steps back, and nothing's being done about it right now. There's this glitch in the replay or photo mode, where if you change the shutter speed, your photo becomes black or very dark, and it's not worth anything. You can't see anything. That's been happening to the last couple of games, but it didn't usually happen when Codemasters was managing the game. So eventually that will be fixed.
Car with the reds.
And there are mentions of it in the forums, but no mentions of a fix whatsoever. Coming around turn 1, turn 2 here is the pit exit. So again, very strong on the exit of turn 4.
Nope, that's my teammate. Just looking for the green.
Coming to the right, turn 5, that is Caesar's Forum to the left. Westchester Drive again. And you want to look for those brake markers on the upper left of the fence, or on the left of the track on the higher side of the fence. teams are very evenly matched. Again, I think a lot of your advantage is going to be based on, you know, setup, and a lot of it has to do with the aerodynamics and the wings. You can see the rear wing is very big. It will create a lot of downforce, but it will create a lot of drag if you don't trim it. And here we are. We've got a car actually expiring on the left side of the track. See all the smoke. That's pretty good. It's pretty realistic, but I don't know what all this other after effects are from. And you can see the smoke from the locking tires. It's a little bit too much. Not very realistic. And again, I remember in I think it was 21 or 20.
That was the fastest lap of the race so far.
And you would lock up the front tires, you would see smoke from the tires. But here in F124, I believe 23 as well, if you lock up the front tires, there's no visual indication of the overheating of the tire from the smoke. You can see that they do lock up by the red lettering on the tires. Here we are into lap 9 of 14. The car is actually pretty fun to drive, just as fun as a F1 car, except for we don't have ERS. So it's very basic in that sense, but you are racing here with what you've got against the other cars who also have the same thing. So it's a little bit more challenging in that way. If you want only speed, then you may want to stick with just the F1s, but here you're basically racing with identical cars, so the racing is more challenging. So again, graphically, once in a while in the replay you'll see the frames seem to stutter, but this game is actually playing at 160, 180 frames per second. Running about 270 watts on my 4070 Ti Super. So the computer or the machine is actually doing very well.
You're pulling out a second a lap on the car behind. Really good stuff.
But I think the Formula One EA software is missing a step here and there as far as producing the visual image. And in the past games, we've never had that problem. It's actually been one of the best games graphically in reproduction. So hopefully they'll fix that soon. It's been 6 months since it's been out.
Almost didn't make it.
Very wide there on the exit. Some of these curbs count, some of them don't. When they do count and when you ride on them, it will actually high side the car, and sometimes your wheels will actually not be touching the ground. There is damage available for underneath the car, meaning that you can damage your under tray, but it didn't happen to us here. So back to the race. After our first and only pit stop, we're up to 8th place from 22. So a good race for us. We do have the fastest lap of the race so far. Another issue we're having with the game is the difficulty level. I've actually had this difficulty set at somewhere in the mid-70s, and the front runners are coming up with a 1:36 lap time. And I have adjusted the difficulty setting all the way down to mid-30s, and the AI still have the same lap time of 1:36. So I don't know what's changing the difficulty level of the car, if it's changing it at all.
Back tires are very hot.
But the other cars are still able to go just as fast. But now that we're in a race, and again, I was at least 1.8 seconds behind as far as lap times on this track in this car. But now that we're back in the race, we're actually racing. We're able to race with the other cars. So somewhere around the calculations of this game, I guess in racing with the AI, there's something not working or not working very well. So we just passed by the Cosmopolitan Aria City Center and Planet Hollywood. Down the pit straight. And again, you're looking at what seems to be a very slow frame rate. But again, that's the game reproducing the graphics. It's not the machine. So if anybody's able to address some of these questions or concerns about the graphics or gameplay, let us know in the comments. Now we will be racing Las Vegas again in the career mode. We will be in the actual F1 car, and it will be a night race. So you can look forward to that. Unfortunately, it comes at the end of the season, so you may subscribe below and get notified for when that race is going to be if you're specifically interested in a race in Las Vegas. There we are down the strip. You can see all the casinos in the background going by. Graphics from in-car. It's just when you are watching trackside, the game is fallen back about 5 steps from what it used to be. And again, in this F2, you can hear the exhaust notes a little bit drony, especially if you're wearing headphones. So I actually have the volume turned to be about half of what it normally would be, as if I would be in the F1 car. The Venetian Expo Center to the left, to the right of your screen. There's the win. All the casinos in stunning detail. So again, along the main straight here, if you shift up too early in the 6th gear, your engine will not rev high enough to give you enough power to make it to the end at full speed. So So you need to let
Starting
it
to
rev
lose
out.
back end by a lot.
You need to let it rev out in 5th gear before you go into 6th. And that's going to cost you about maybe 15 or 20 miles per hour, maybe 4 seconds at the end of the main straight. Looking back at the number 6, we got by. This is our final lap of the race. And that is our teammate here just to the right. We're going to get by him.
It looks so easy.
Oh, he brushes the wall.
Now we just gotta be careful with our rear tires.
Yeah, again, turn 6 to turn 7 is very tricky as far as braking point.
Maybe the others are in the same boat. They're not trying to come around.
Yes, and we addressed that earlier in the race. The rear tires do get very hot here. And in the game, higher pressures actually reduce the tire temperature, so we are running about 70 to 75% more pressure in these tires, and that actually gave us very good speed and very good durability from the heat wear on the tires.
Very slow here.
Down to Main Straight for the last time. We don't have our DRS, and you can see here our teammate is able to come right beside us to the right hand side, but we are making a left, so we've got the inside lane. 16, and now or never. Coming around 17, final turn, and across the start-finish line.
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
Not bad.
So we did finish in 5th, and we did have the fastest lap of the race. And we're actually driver of the day for having passed that many cars. So we did have a fast car for the race.
He has done it again. Andrea Kimi Antonelli takes the checkered flag.
Got to give it up to EA and Codemasters for these animations.
We've heard stories of drivers watching the race on the big screens while they're going around leading with that kind of advantage. I reckon that's what they were doing, you know, AJ.
For all the all-around aspects of the race, it's nice to see the drivers, the pit crew.
As we look back on a thrilling race here today, we can now see the drivers take their places on the podium. It's a familiar sight by now, as it's another successful F2 win for Prema.
And of course the podium celebrations. No other game right now has anything close to what EA and Codemasters have right here with the animations. So that's going to do it for the race. Let us know what you think of the F2 race. Let us know what you think of the game. Give us a like and subscribe, and we'll see you at the next race.